Hello, lunatics. We're going to have a good time today. This video is all about 2026 love scopes. Yes, right out of Linda Goodman's sun signs or love signs. I'm going to talk about your romantic, sexual love life, your marriage life, your committed life in love, whether you're single or you're with somebody. I'm going to give you, based on your rising sign, the most likely outcomes for romance. I think your rising sign is probably more particularly useful when delineating accurate love stories, but also we can use our sun sign. I use both for me. Your sun sign becomes more active after the age of 44, 45 for most people, but I just try them both out, see which fits. I did love scopes last year. And I'm going to put a link to last year's love scopes in my description box below. I listened to my Aquarius rising love scope from last year, and it was quite accurate. So we're going to talk today about Venus, the goddess of love, and how she influences you in the area of love in 2026. And we'll bring some attention to Lord Jupiter as well as Saturn. All three planets can initiate, begin, end, and close down love stories, as well as the South and North Node. So we have four elements to consider for each separate sign. I will be really just looking at the most intense, most probable element. There is a book called The Wisdom of the Oracle, an Oracle deck that I love, and she has a section on romance. So I may draw a card as well for each of you because the love relationship section can be quite useful as well. Very good guidance by Colette Baron Reed in this particular Oracle deck. I love this deck. So let's get going. Let's settle in, get a cup of coffee, glass of wine, tea, matcha, whatever you're drinking these days. And we'll probably be here for at least 90 minutes. And if you're new to my channel, and a lot of you are, thank you so much. I have 5,600 new subscribers in the last 30 days. I don't know how that happened, but I'm very appreciative. And if you are new, you're very welcome to the channel. I hope you'll enjoy this kind of content. And for some of you who already have been here for a while, you know that my 2026 Time Your Best Life in 2026 individual forecast videos and all signs bundles are available still at the December price. Look in my description box below. I just continued the sale price through to the month of January, and you'll be able to get that 2-hour video plus a PDF guidebook for your sign, or all 12 videos. That's 24 hours of content. Share with friends and family. This is my fundraiser every year. It helps me buy equipment. It helps me hire staff. It helps me deal with equipment failures, especially. And also now I've created a scholarship fund for when I teach Sky Reader, where people who can't afford the class, I'm going to dip into that to help people take the course. All right, so let's get going. Let's talk Venus. Let's talk love. And let me get you all down for the stories. I want to be really clear before we begin. This is not a personal reading. This is a general bell curve astrology, right? We're talking about you guys as a general sign. And well, for most people, most of the time, there will be things that resonate or stick the landing for you and you get it. Don't forget that to have a real in-depth love reading, there are so many variables, okay? There is like your profection age and the Lord of your profection age and the natal condition of Venus and your solar arc transits and your regular, secondary progressions as well as your solar return chart. So if you were seeing a professional astrologer about love stuff, there would be a lot more layers here, right? Just so you know, I should always use that disclaimer. But hopefully you'll find the generalities useful. And please go check out last year's love scopes, because maybe if you listen to last year's, you can go, that's what happened. Let's look at the next stories. I don't know. Last year's videos were not like a popular feature. I thought people would love it. So I didn't get as many views on that I thought I would, because doesn't everyone want to know about their love life, whether a relationship's going to make it or break it or beginning or end or nothing new is coming. I think looking for love, it seems to be what all the tarot channels are about. But anyway, let's get going. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to pull up the sky. We're going to go through all signs, and I'm not going to be in today's video, I'm not going to be moving the chart forward. Okay. Why? Because it's impossible to do and it's a pain in the ass, but you'll be able to see your sign, and I'll be talking about why I'm saying things that I'm saying. And if you don't know how to find your sign in astrology, because I don't know, some people don't, you're looking to as you're looking at the screen, you'll look at the 9 a.m. position and you'll see a sign there. And that will be the sign that we're talking about as we go through this video today. So if you're in the live premiere, for example, plus it's time-stamped. Everything is chapters and time-stamped for your convenience. All right, I'm pulling up the chart and we're going to rock and roll, guys. Give me a sec. Hang in there. All right. Teaching a class on past lives and reincarnation through the chart on February the 8th. If you're interested, I'll put a link to that class. It's like a 90-minute class in the description box as well. All righty. Share. Goodbye, messy desktop. Hello, chart. All right. So unfortunately, I still have a little minor asteroid in there. Please ignore this asteroid. It was for a YouTube video. Maybe I'll take it out not to distract you guys. Give me a minute. Goodness gracious. Goodbye, guys. Hephaestus and Gong Gong. You're not needed. All right. So welcome to the Love Scopes for 2026. We're starting with Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. In this case, I would suggest you definitely listen for Rising as a priority, Sun secondarily. I won't say that Moon is going to really draw the love story into focus, but it could. So try all three, especially given the Gemini technique of deriving spouses through the lunar tool. So try all three, but let's see how this goes. Rising for sure will work. So if you are your typical Aries, bold and brave, all fired up, your romance house is Leo, and Leo is a fire sign. And that's how you approach life, like a big game, like an adventure, like a competitive sport, like a fun place to take risks, to go full on, heart first, diving heart first into new love, into love stories. Hopefully, if that resonates for you. I mean, otherwise, maybe you have a suppressed Venus in your chart, but the nature of your fire is going to flow to always, all your life, the fire-led fifth house of romantic love. And this is where we fall in love and have romantic sexual energies and like get infatuated and want to kiss all night long. And this over here, the seventh house is where we get married and settle in and make a contractual agreement. But this part of the sky is full of spice. And you're going to have a big thing happen in 2026. It's going to be the movement of Jupiter into Leo. And Jupiter will hit your romance, passion, excitement, thrills of love, all right, on the 30th of June, and he'll be here for a whole 12 months. And when Jupiter enters Leo, if you are single, you're most likely to encounter a powerful brand new relationship. Now, he is here every single 12 years. My brain has really bad time counting backwards. But if you were to go back from 2026 at minus 12 years, 2014, right? Roughly the same time of year. So, if you go back to 2014, late June or something like that, and add a year, that's the last time Jupiter loved up your lusciousness of your fifth house. And you go back 12 years before that, midsummer to midsummer, which I believe takes you to 2002 and 2003, if my brain is operating properly. And for you, this is going to be something like different than those times. So whatever love stories were emerging as Jupiter went through your romance house back then, it's not the same this year. And there's a good reason it's not the same. It's not the same because the South Node will also enter Leo and be there by the end of July at 18 months. And so that's going to be an overlapping time frame that's going to take you through August of 2026. Really to July of 2027, where both the South Node and Jupiter are in the romance house. Now, there's another thing this can do for you, which is fertility and pregnancy, giving birth to a child. Jupiter rules your ninth house of childbirth. If you or your partner are literally, pregnant with a child or want to get pregnant, it indicates a period of time more likely than not, right? June 30th of this year. Right? Add, a year to produce a child or have a child be baby born, delivered, all of that. Now, if you are in a relationship already, because if you're not, Jupiter will bring a destined, fated South Node relationship, past lives, spiritual connection, feeling like you've known each other forever. These are the signatures of a Jupiter, South Node, fifth house romance for single Aries looking for love. Okay. And we'll see the juice of it really kick in August, add a year. July starts up as well, but we need the node there to bring the fated element to it. But if you are with somebody already in a long-term love relationship, other than producing children, it can really expand the spiritual depth and the intimacy and the spiritual play and sex combo. It's like it can rejuvenate the sex life, but also bring in a mystical or deeply spiritual element between the couple so that you could find a new way of being engaged in your relationship to your partner. And so I'm hoping that you will find that story exciting. And you've already gone through some eclipses that happen in 24 into 2023-24 through the Libra seventh house, which could have challenged your relationship and made you wonder if that relationship was for you, or you might have dated someone in 23 and 2024 South Node eclipses through your seventh house with whom you had a karmic contract, a deep, profound bond to be together in this life. And that may have lasted or not. But whatever this is now, it's going to juice everything up: sex, romance, love, fertility, and children. And the other element that I'm just going to briefly touch on is that Venus herself likes to bring new love stories into existence. And there is a possibility, if you're single, her star point in January on the 6th in the 10th house can bring in a relationship that's connected to your work or colleagues or coworker spaces for single Aries. But she's also in the wedding house. And so any of you who haven't had a wedding before, or you want to get married in the public eye or do a ceremonial ritual, it could bring in wedding bells for you. And the wedding bells promise of Venus, that is about that Capricorn star point, can take up to 4 years to fully flesh itself out. But within the first 10 months or by the end of October, you're probably seeing evidence for more formal celebrated relationship. But, you know, hey, everything happens in a public ritual, including baptisms and christenings and bat mitzvahs, everything, bar mitzvahs, whatever, things you do in the public that are ritualistic and publicly witnessed. And so that could also, for some of you, people having babies, just indicate that you might do a christening ceremony or something, depending on your religious background. And that could be true actually all the way through to the end of this year. So those are the major love stories I'm seeing for you. I'm not going to cover every single thing that could possibly happen. I've covered what I think you need to know. So what I'm going to do at this point is draw a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck for you. And I may navigate away from the screen. I'll see if I can do that without having the constant problem of trying to get the picture back up properly. I don't know. Yeah. What happened, eh? What happened? Well, I upgraded my software on my brand new MacBook Pro, and it really doesn't seem to do as good a job as it used to. And what can you say? You know, it's not my problem. Okay, we got the fates for you. We're talking about love and romance. Well, you can't get any more clear because the node of fate, the south node of fate, will move through your romance house. And by the way, I should have said, if you're married and you're with someone or you've been with them for a long time and the south node goes to your sex house and Jupiter represents children, your preoccupation with your children, whether it's a brand new baby or it's the children you have, will indicate a likelihood of decrease of sexual activity. Okay, that's the condition of you people with kids already or having kids. Okay, well, that makes sense, though, doesn't it? Volume down, sex, south node, fifth house. Okay, the fates. Clearly, it's going to indicate in the love section here that there's something fated or destined is coming through in love life stories for you. It says other people, it just here's your reading, okay? Other people are who they are. You cannot change them. The challenge is to accept them as they are and make them, or not try to make them other than they are to suit you. It's a time to look at how you, in love, attempt to mold people to fit your view of how they should be so that you can remain in the relationship and avoid discomfort. What if they are who they are? I just think it's because it's a fated relationship. And whatever is happening between you and them in this situation is perfect from the perspective of spirit. Now is time to accept what you cannot change, even if it means that you honor yourself, spirit, and the other person by moving on. Love unconditionally, for each of us is on our own journey, and we cannot direct the journey of another. Be aware that this relationship is indeed fated, and if you are meant to evolve into a better version of yourself as a result of it, you will. I will also just say, look, if you're in a relationship, that's a good message. If you're not, this is also to remind you that a fated relationship with a very deep spiritual component is on the way. Let's see if I hit the darn share button, you know what I mean? Which disappears when I'm in small mode, which is another issue. Let me find it. You got to be kidding me, guys. Let's try. Nope. See, it's not there. I probably won't break away from my face because it's just a pain in the ass to do that and lose the graphic. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. Okay, so Venus is the lord of your sign. She loves you up, right? She's your girl. She's trying to bring you money and love and good things and pleasure and satisfaction and all of the good perks of the matrix. So Taurus, sun, moon, and rising, you are ruled by Venus. And in that regard, what is Venus up to in 2026 regarding love scopes or love and relationship narratives? She's also the sperm and ovum ruler. So we always talk fertility when we talk Venus stories. All right. And we have relationship houses 5 and 7. The first thing I want to mention is that later in the year, this is because it's the most important, Venus will join the sun October 24th in your 7th house of marriage, long-term committed love and union. And that is going to be a reset button and the last in a lifetime reset button in your relationship house at 0 degrees of Scorpio. If you're with somebody, it can reset the terms of the relationship. It can leverage it up to a wedding or a marriageable situation. Okay. And if it's not with somebody, because you're not with somebody and you're looking for a relationship, 0 Scorpio, Venus star point on October 24th. And then you're going to add about a year, right? Because it takes about 10 months to conjunct another sign. Although it is a longer 4-year rollout and it's your last star point in a lifetime here, you can probably count on something showing up within 12 months at the latest. So single Taurus is looking for love. Probably I would advise you to wait until you get to the time frame of the fall of this year. And that star point is going to include Venus going back and forth between the 6th and the 7th house. Sometimes the 6th house is a dating house. Sometimes it's a work and colleague house. Sometimes you're walking your dog or your cat. So those are ways in which the relationship can begin, right? And begin to open up doors for that new relationship. The things I just mentioned, work, health, going to the doctor, pets, things to do with, your colleagues and your employment space. So that can bring in a vehicle for the relationship. But I can definitely say that something about the fall, let's say September, October, November, December, are archetypally trying to reset you into a new relationship for singletons, into elevating the existing relationship to some new stature, including legal statures like marriage contracts because of the Libra overlay. Alrighty. And it just, to say that that's the most important thing is truly the most important thing. There is nothing else as strong for love in this chart at this time. You have gone through a bunch of eclipses in the 5th house, the sex, love, and romance house. And those eclipses are the Virgo Pisces. And the last eclipse here is going to happen in the romance house on March the 3rd. And that's the last testing of your long-term committed love in terms of sex and romance, or if you've been dating in the romance house. South Node can be letting go, releasing, having maybe less sex, maybe finding yourself less interested in romance in general, maybe having met a romantic partner, South Node, destined, fated, but maybe it was just for a time. And those eclipses have been going through your chart basically all of 2025, spring of 25, fall of 25, and now here in March of 2026. So this eclipse will happen in your 5th house, and it will be a very powerful detonation. If I remember correctly, I think it's total. And it will, if you're single, attempt to bring in a fated, destined, soulmate, past life kind of connection relationship. And it will amplify the possible energy of what Venus is going to do in the fall. So it's a 1-2 punch. They're both working together in some fundamental way. An eclipse in the romance house can eclipse a relationship if it's struggling, and so can Venus in the fall. And therefore, relationships that are really not doing well could be wanting to complete or end. But for a lot of you, it will be a new and destined beginning. And the other thing I'd say about that is fertility. Okay, when you want to get co-create a baby, when you want to make a baby, we're talking 5th house. And as soon as we talk eclipses, we say fated and destined events connected to fertility and pregnancy, whether you're the man or the woman, within the context of the relationship, that is highly possible. Jupiter is going to try to expand your home mid-year, like, end of June, add a year. But when Jupiter goes into the fourth house, besides giving you a bigger, more luscious, more prosperous, more positive home experience and where you live, it's another indication of fertility. Jupiter means children in the home. So again, for some of you of the childbearing age, I'm just going to give you a heads up, children in the home. And this can include your children having children, especially from the Venus star point that happened January 6th. So those are side stories to do with love and romance, because we still have to make a baby, or your children too. So there you go. I'm going to draw a card from the wisdom of the oracle, and I'm not going to show my face, because every time I do, I lose the actual. I'll try one more time. I'll try one more technique. Let's see if I can pull it off. If I can't, I think I figured out how to do it. Okay, so I want to tell you what is the story of the wisdom of the oracle for your love life in my love scopes of 2026. And when I say love scopes, I mean love scopes. It's the Yan card. That's the masculine, yin and yang, yin and yang. See, Yan? So there's something about the masculine principle here. And you're very, very femininely ruled by that Venus. But let's take a quick look at this. Number one, yang and love, relationships. And it says circumstances are supporting action on your part. It's okay to make the first move. Trust that you will quickly know where you stand. In matters of the heart, there is movement toward your highest good. So go forth with assurance. Passion is in the air. And now is the time to dance to the tune of love. Take the lead. All right. You can take the lead. You can propose marriage to your partner. You can do it all. Oh, my goodness gracious. Okay. I'm going to let that go to voicemail. All righty. It's just not important. All right. Let's try sharing again. I think I figured out a way to go back to the chart without losing it. Not bad, Lori. Figured out one tool. Let's move past the Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Don't forget to take the lead in love. Be bold. Be brave. Okay. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Now, don't forget, listen for rising first, sun next, and maybe you might think about listening as well to your moon. All right. So I have a sun progressed into Gemini. So maybe I'll get some juice out of this. I'll let you know. So Gemini, sun, moon, and rising, we have a year ahead when it comes to the love scope, where we can make some assumptions about relationship based on some of the sky and what's going on here. One thing I will say to you is when Jupiter enters into your third house, which will be occurring on June the 30th, and flows in a beautiful harmony to the romance house, as well as to the seventh house of committed love, sometimes that is enough to open up doors of new love, because Jupiter is activating in a most positive, applying way the houses connected to relationship. And Jupiter will be with the South Node, and it could indicate fated and destined love stories emerging in June 30th, add a year. Okay. For the last half of this year, and more so after perhaps July 30th, when we get the South Node with Jupiter as well. Now, the transiting energy through Jupiter through your third house could also show you how you could meet somebody, and that could be because you're traveling, right? You're on a journey. You could be in a teaching or learning community or setting. All right, so there's ways that Jupiter can bring love based on the third house story. Now, if you also are looking for a new relationship, you could find somebody through your livelihood and work because of the Venus star point October 24th in the work house. And she goes back and forth between the work house and the love house, and the work house and the love house during her retrograde this fall of 26. So starting even September, October, November, into December, it's quite possible that by doing the work you do in the world, whether you're in an office or a career or business space, or like me working online with customers, clients, and students, right? I could meet a love partner that way. And that makes sense. Jupiter in the third house for me, that's my teaching house. So don't discount office love or meeting someone through your work environment or work colleagues or work setting if you're looking for a relationship as a Gemini. Now, if you already have a relationship, and some of you probably do, there is something to be noted here about Venus's star point in the 8th house with Mercury, the Lord of your sign, which occurred on January the 6th, because it could indicate a major change in a relationship status connected to settlements about money, connected to divorce, separation of financial assets between two people. And that's doubled down by Jupiter, who is the Lord of your marriage house, witnessing the Venus star point. So I will say, if you're a Gemini and you're in a relationship that doesn't, feel like it's going to continue, like you just have a hunch that this thing is it's gotten to a point where you don't think it's going to continue to go onward, then it's possible one of your stories will be about moving toward the concept of asset separation, maybe home separation, changing your home to, and moving your home, moving out, your partner moving out, that kind of thing. And it could also be amplified by the eclipse in the 4th house, ruled by your Mercury. Mercury is your Lord, and that eclipse on March the 30th. And I want you to kind of let it unfold over 6 months. Okay, that is a Virgo lunar eclipse. It could totally leave you without like cohabitational status. Like one of the two of you might choose to move out of the home and begin to asset separate monies that belong to who and the other person. I just can't say that it doesn't exist when I see it, but it should be like you kind of know the lay of the land. You might feel almost liberated or free because that relationship might be closing down. And sometimes relationships start and relationships end. And I mean, you could be meeting a colleague or coworker or someone in the office space, and you realize that your relationship is really limp, the one you've had for 10 years or 20 years or even just a couple of years, and you got to let it go because something new and fresh is coming in. And exciting and all of that. Venus star point in the house of work, pets, health matters. You go to a health clinic or you're working out in the gym and you meet somebody. And so there's somebody for you. Even if you're separating from someone, it could easily indicate there's also a new relationship coming in, even as you're disentangling from an existing love story. So let's go ahead and draw a card for you as well. If you like this kind of content and you have yet to subscribe, would you consider subscribing to my channel? I enjoy making the content for you, and it really feels rewarding when I make the content and then you guys subscribe. So it's like a dopamine feedback loop. I'm the rat on the dopamine treadmill, and you guys subscribe and I'm more motivated to make content. That's how it works. That's the YouTube content creation drug. I don't know why you have all that glitters when it comes to love. All that glitters is not gold, Let's see what it says. All that glitters when it comes to love. Card number 16. I'm sorry, 16. Well, that's like the tarot card, the tower. All right. A major arcana, that number. Here we have it. Relationship message. Sometimes we try to become something we're not to impress others. We embellish a story a bit, adding some dramatic elements to make us more appealing. The real person becomes hidden behind the sparkle and shine, and then there are times we don't see the true value of someone else because he or she may not have the glitz and glamour that seems so desirable. Oh, well, maybe you're going to meet somebody that you think isn't really all that fancy, that you're like, oh, like they're a looker. Maybe you just look at, all the glamorous outer looks of a person may not work for you. Now is the time to look past the surface, beyond the mask, to the essence of a person. Who is that person? Who that person is not what she or he has or can give you. See beyond the glitter, look for the inner glow, use the eyes of your heart, let go of artifice, and let what is authentic in love shine. I'm going to add something for you guys. The Venus star point in Libra happened in the fall of 2022. It was October 22nd, maybe 2022. And then that plays out and doesn't close out until October 24th of 2026. And that Libra star point was first in a lifetime, by the way. But it can also be a situation where, for some of you, because Libra is your 5th house of love and romance, you connected with somebody, you met somebody. And with the South Node traveling through there in 2023-24, 90% of it is like karmic destined intersection with a partner. But because Venus will star point in Scorpio this fall, that relationship that could have started since 2022, more likely came in 23, 24, is going to likely end, right? Because now Venus is closing shop on that story. Just a tip. Okay. So those of you who started a relationship since fall of 22. All right. So hopefully you know that, you feel it in your bones, and I'm not giving you something that disturbs your ether, so to speak. All right. We're going to do Cancer next. All right. I think I'm sharing. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising is next on the docket. I think I need to get some food, though. I'm having that hunger attack. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. First thing I want to draw your attention to is Jupiter in your sign. Now you have to go back to June of last year, and this is going to close out Jupiter in Cancer and say goodbye to you on June 30th of this year. This happens every 12 years, and it can really reset your love stories, specifically and most exquisitely in terms of the committed marriage type of forged connection, as Jupiter witnesses your marriage house across the way. Now, Jupiter gives you a kind of optimistic, hopeful, faith and hope, half full cup vision of everybody around you, including marriage partner. Okay. So understanding that is first and foremost important. But Jupiter is a little bit like the Rolling Stones song. You don't always get what you need. You get what you want. You don't always get what you want. You get what you need. Oh my God. And so Jupiter has wisdom. Okay. He's the guru and the dispeller of darkness. And he has a way of showing you what's best for you, giving you the understanding, the knowing of what's best for you. So when you enter this year, Jupiter is retrograde, but he will go direct on March the 11th. After March 11th to June 30th, when it comes to love, if your current long-term committed partnership is not working for you, then Jupiter's wisdom will help you make decisions about whether you want to stay or not stay, and you'll know the right way to go. And he'll be moving very swiftly, so you'll be making decisions very swiftly. And he stations direct on March 11th at 15 degrees of Cancer. So Sun, Moon, and Rising folk listening with the Sun or Moon or Rising near 15 Cancer, 3 degrees on either side of that degree, will really feel a momentum around making decisions that are wise and truthful and good when it comes to committed love. Now, for singletons, when Jupiter has been retrograde, you might have been thinking of your past patterns in love. You might have been nostalgically, covering ground of, your last marriage or your first love, or thinking back in time. And you've been doing that since the fall when Jupiter started to go retrograde, and basically late fall, and then it goes direct on March the 11th. As he goes direct on March the 11th, then through to the 30th, you'll stop thinking about the past, or maybe even talk to people from your past. Maybe you dredged up people from love stories from the past, but that'll stop. That won't be a priority at this point, and you might swiftly move into decisions or new love. And, last year it was difficult because as Jupiter was in your sign, he squared Saturn in the whole of the summer. It was like June, July, August, September, perhaps. Basically, Jupiter squared Saturn in Aries, and that would have felt hard. It would have felt like love and relationship and home and career and everything just would have felt difficult, even though Jupiter was in your sign. So now you're not going to know what this is like till you get there, but pay attention to March the 11th through to June 30th. Because now things don't feel hard. They feel easier, and you're going to make decisions about love or be introduced to a new potential love partner. So now for you single Capricorn specifically, Venus star pointed here on January 6th, and she will initiate a potential new long-term committed love story. Because Mars is there as well as Mercury, it's a big huddle, and it will not likely show up until Venus is visible after mid-February, and until maybe Mars is visible mid-March. But nonetheless, there is a code for a relationship that wants to come in for single Cancers. And this is so profound that the last time it played out the way it is now was 1993, 1994 calendar years. So some people might have divorced I have a girlfriend who's a Cancer rising. She got a divorce at that time. It means major stature changes in love. Singletons can bring someone in. Married couples might be looking at letting their relationship close out, right? So there is this like go back to 1994, 1995 in your life in love and commitment and marriage type stories. See what you did back then. The difference is this time Jupiter's witnessing it and he's bringing extraordinary positive energy towards all of the stuff going on in your marriage house here. Now, sometimes I think, this kind of story with Venus here in the way she's resetting, it can definitely mean a new relationship because of a change of home. Some of you might relocate your domicile where you live. And some of you might do that to be closer to your children, Scorpio, or your children are moving and then you have an empty nest. But things to do with your children or home and relocation are very strongly connected here, okay, to what is trying to happen in bringing a new relationship in or ending one as well. Finally, the other thing I might draw our attention to is the star point of Venus with the sun on October the 24th. And that's going to open up. You'll start to feel September, October, November, December. There's a whole kerfuddle up there in your fifth house of sex, love, and romance. Now, this is definitely indicative. You compare that, you pair that up with this star point here and Jupiter here. And I'm like, oh my God, what is that? So it's very likely that you could be seeing some fall love, blossoming romance, new beginnings in the relationship, in love stories. And this is romance, dating, fun, pleasure, sex, right? This is that kind of stuff. So the star point in the fifth house can definitely open up new doors of love as well. And it is really possible that because Mercury is the ruler of where the eclipses are happening, another way you will meet a new love story is because you are traveling internationally or domestically. And travel or moves both can lead to intersections of destiny that bring new love. Watch for that March 3rd eclipse at 6 months. I certainly see Venus trying to boost the sex and love in the fall. And that star point of Venus in the 7th house will last till the end of this year. So we can see some of these stories are talking love. It's more acutely in the love story, a lot like 1994, maybe a bit like 1995 as well. All right, so I'm going to draw a card for you, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising, in the Wisdom of the Oracle, Colette Baron Reed, and it's serendipity. You know what that is, right? Synchronicities. Paying attention to the uncanny way life will bring you together with someone, or if you're not meant to be with them, it'll help you leave. I taught a class on the 5 tips for psychic development anyone can use. And maybe I should just post it on my YouTube channel and create a new segment called classes that I teach. And you can just take them for ones that are free, because there's something called a Claydon. Just walk around in town or go to the supermarket or the hair salon and tell yourself before you go, by overhearing conversations of others randomly, you're going to get clues to what you need to do. So for those of you thinking of relationships that could come to an end and you're not sure what to do, you could be going to the hair salon thinking, if I get any eavesdropping, auditory messages from conversations around me. And then the person in the salon next to you, like getting their hair cut or something, is talking about how he or she knew it was time to end their relationship. And you go, okay, that's a sign, right? So I think I'm going to create a new segment of my channel, like Teaching Tuesdays. And I'll be dropping videos, maybe live streams even, and then letting it land as a playlist for you guys. Serendipity. Spirit has a plan. And that plan is to place you in front of the right person at the right time. You have met or are about to meet someone vitally important to your journey, Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Someone Spirit wants to bring into your life. Only divine forces can plan this meeting. It is out of your hands. Pay attention to the signs that Spirit presents. Okay, love that for you. Wow. Moving on from Cancer, we're going to hit the Leos next. All right, let's share the screen for the next sign, which is Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising. And don't forget to try going back to last year's love scopes after you listen to this year's and see if anything did fit for last year. Okay. Leo, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. What an incredible year for you. Jupiter is entering your sign. You know, he was with the Cancer folk a year before you. And then here we go, June 30th, add 12 months, and you'll have a Jupiter blessing. You could get pregnant or your partner, you could get chubby, you could build some muscle, you'll get bigger. You're going to feel optimistic, hopeful, lucky. Faith and hope and optimism will be your superpower. And against the backdrop, Jupiter going through the first house trines the romance house and witnesses the long-term committed love house. Now, for the most part, Jupiter will give you the wisdom to know what to do. Because if there's a relationship that's struggling, Jupiter's transit through your first house is literally like the guru or the guide or the spiritual master is showing you what it is you need to do in a difficult love relationship, whether it's to go to therapy together, couples counseling, whether it's to quit the relationship in a hopefully kind way. There is that story. On the other hand, if you are single, Jupiter's transit through your first house is one of those transits that can bring in a new love story. And it could bring in a very profoundly positive, buoyant, jubilant, lucky feeling, like I'm lucky in love. Okay. If I was doing a separate video for you, I'd call it lucky in love. So there could be lucky in love for you. The other element is the birth of children and grandchildren. And Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising went through this already. And then they're going to finish this job up by the end of June, but you start next. And so, yeah, children and grandchildren being popped out and born in your family unit is a possibility, as well as you and your partner having kids. So that's the big story for you. And Jupiter he has looked at your love story, at committed love here before, back in 2014-15, June to June, or 2002 to 2003, but not the same way, not with Jupiter in your first house, not exactly the same way, but certainly not with Pluto in your marriage house, that will want to transform and catalyze any kind of long-term committed love into something quite different than what you're normally used to. And Pluto's been here since 2023. So there's that story that could bring in love and is very likely to try to bring in love, right? It will be an attempt by the sky to open up a love relationship if you're ready for one, if you're single. And the other thing that'll happen later in the year when Jupiter moves into the sign of Leo, I guess I could go forward for you, but I'll probably lose your ascendant. So just trust me on this, is that you could find yourself feeling that because of the North and South Node eclipses, any love story that happens to come your way next year, 2026, into mid 2027, especially June 30th of 26 to July 1st or so of 2027, is going to be destined, fated love. And that's because the North and South Node will be going through the first and the seventh house. So singletons, you're going to feel the fates are decreeing a new love story for you. Maybe soulmating, maybe past lives, maybe feeling really connected. If you are also thinking about your own long-term love that already exists, then the North Node transit, which begins here in the sign of Aquarius at the end of July of this year, 2026, and does not finish up till the end of 2027, it will ask the relationship to expand its reach, its girth. Okay, I always use the metaphor of a pot of soil with a plant in it. So you have the relationship soil of the seventh house, and the North Node wants to grow a bigger pot for the relationship to grow in. So don't be afraid of this energy, but it would mean like, okay, we live together. Let's get married. We are dating. Let's move in, or let's create new terms of relationship service. What works for you, honey? What works for me? Let's figure it out together. So, people who've gone through this story already are the Virgo Sun, Moon, and Risings. This has been with them already all of 25 to midway through 26. A lot of those people I know chose to get married or move in together or get engaged. And so you're going to see that you're now being called to do that, to like figure out if you can grow the relationship into a more spacious pot, and it has more room to breathe, and it takes a different form. If that doesn't work, the South Node, North Node kind of axis here can end the relationship as well. So the call is to expand it into more a new form of some kind, but you would say to yourself, this feels like success. Moving in together feels like success. Getting engaged feels like success. It's going to have this feels like success. Okay, that's the vibe. Well, another piece of the love story, and there's so many bits and bobbles here, but if you're single looking for a relationship versus you're in one, then you may not look much further than your workplace, because this is where the Venus star point of January 6th has happened. It will unfold for 10 months until October 24th. And it could literally mean I'm going to meet somebody in my work environment that I want to fall in love with passionately, because Mars is there too. So you could be head over heels in an office work romance. But if you know you're self-employed, then through your clients, your customers, your people you interface with in the work environment, especially because Venus is a ruler of your 10th house of career. So single Leos through the work environment may be shocked, right? Knock your socks off. New love. And it's kind of cool that Uranus is up there, because you really couldn't knock your socks off. It's like thunder, lightning. The way you love me is frightening, but it could shock you because it's your boss, right? Or somebody that you are maybe professionally surprised or shocked that they're interested in you, or something like that. It might cut against the rules. It might break the rules. It may be outside the bounds of the normative as well. Now, you could also just meet somebody because you're walking your dog or your animal, or you're going to a medical center or something. Health and pets are here, and that could open up a way to meet somebody from the Venus star point here. But if you do meet somebody off of that, it will be very fast moving, very exciting, very exhilarating. It'll be like right out of like a rom-com or something. I don't know. It's just going to happen really quickly. I also could note for you that having this Venus star point October the 24th in the 4th house could mean moving into a home with a new person, like moving into a house with someone, especially because by the time we get to the star point October the 24th and Venus resets your 4th house, she's going back and forth between Libra, and Saturn, the Lord of marriage, will also be in the 9th house. So it could indicate something along the lines of October 24th to 26th out a year, you might be moving into a new home or moving to a new place to live, connected to a relationship, a new city, a new town, a new neighborhood, even another country for some of you. Okay. So that's for the singletons, obviously. Okay. If you're in a marriage already, or a relationship that's like a marriage, long-term committed, monogamous, and you are feeling like it's time to break free, and you may, because Jupiter can do that, then one of the things I'd say is you're going to get a fair shake on the separation of resources and assets, where Jupiter rules the marital money and the in-law money, but the money that you would divide between the two of you. Jupiter will protect you. So if you're like afraid to divorce or separate from a man or woman that you're with, then you will feel like, okay, what about like, oh my God, the money stuff? And that would look like, of course, maybe why a move could be indicated too, because you may just actually go ahead and decide to file for a divorce or a separation, and you'll begin the process of separating home and property and monies together. But I will give you this, Jupiter will be very protective of you and help you to receive what you deserve in that relationship ending. Okay. So we're going to draw a card for you now. Leos, from the good old wisdom of the Oracle. And let's see what we get. I hope you're liking this kind of thing, guys. Hit that like button and subscribe if you're in the premiere, or if you're watching it in the replay, please hit the like button. It does really make a difference. There's something called hype. I don't even know how that works, but hit the hype button. Blessed. We got blessed. Wow. That's like, I'm sorry, you can't really see it, can you? Card number 22. It's like a fairy. It's a fairy mermaid. Okay, blessed. 22. Okay, let's see what we have for you. Well, Jupiter is blessing you. Jupiter makes you lucky as F, lucky in love, lucky in everything next year. This year. This year, lucky as F. All right. Starting on June 30th, out a year. 22. Jupiter blessings are upon you in love and money. 22. Here we go. All right. You are moving toward a deepening of intimacy in a unique and sacred partnership, whether it's the one you have or the one you're bringing in. You know you are meant to make this connection. This union is blessed by the divine and will bring transformation and beauty to the world. This is a sign that, even more important, you are being called to a deeper intimacy with yourself and with your spirit. With this new development, you will see evidence of grace in your life. Look no further for evidence of grace in your life than Jupiter moving through your sign. Okay. Grace, goodness, truth, and wisdom, luck and opportunity, all for you next year. In this case, we're talking about love. All right. And we move on to the next one. And I am getting warm in my apartment. I might open the window. So give me a sec. Whew. Like, is it hot in here? Or is it just me? Holy man. I think it's the ring light because it's dark and dreary and rainy. So I had to put a ring light up today instead of my window. And I think that it just emanates a ton of heat, honestly. And probably it's not good for you either because it's that really bright light that I'm sure is like full of bad shit. Okay. Oh, maybe because you're going to be hot and bothered, Leos. Okay, so Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. I was just talking about the Leos. I was just spilling your dirt to the Leos. You guys have an incredibly, important transit that's closing down right now. But you've been living through not only Saturn through your seventh house of committed love, but also the nodes of fate. And that was really important, and it's mostly done. I want you to reflect on how your committed long-term love life has looked ever since the North and South Node energy activated this part of your chart in January 11th of 2025, and will finish up at around July 30th of 2026. The Node of Fate would have brought destined, fated new love relationships into your life if you were single. If you were already with somebody, then the Node of Fate is trying to expand their relationship into a larger pot so it has breathing room because it might be root bound. And that means like, let's move in together, share resources, get married, get proposed, whatever. Let's get this relationship on to new success stories. At the very same time, I mean, there are eclipses here, and there will be an eclipse here in the fall of 2020. Fall of 2020. I think it's September. Fall of 2000 or October. Fall of 2024. There is a Pisces eclipse, and so that energy could very well activate a closure of a relationship because you haven't been able to grow it into a bigger pot, and you've been struggling to do that. And you've been trying your best and it's just not happening. Like you guys can't make it work. Any of these eclipses in Pisces, we had one in September of 24. We had one in fall of 25. And here we have another one in the fall of 26. All of these Pisces eclipses can activate a very strong energy to end a relationship that isn't working. And so that eclipse this fall will unfold over 6 months or so. And therefore, there's still a testing ground ahead of you, Virgo. Now, the good news for you is Lord Saturn, who only does every 30 years a travel through your seventh house of marriage and love, is finishing the job. He started moving through here in March of 2023, and he completes his journey through your seventh house, shall we say hallelujah, on February 14th. Happy Valentine's Day. Without even having the nodes of fate complicating it, that transit itself is difficult. First of all, it's a similar transit to the node, but it's like the home inspector is inspecting the foundation of your relationship or the cracked engine block or not in the car you wish to hold on to. And those inspections, that Saturnian kind of discernment about the relationship itself is important because Saturn will not let you continue if that relationship has got a crack in it, right? So this is where this is coming to a close. And by the time we get to February 14th, if you survived and the relationship solidified, and some people did things like try to make it work, go to therapy together, get married, buy a house, or like try to consolidate the structure, fine. But some of you maybe couldn't get a gel going there to hold it together, and there was a crack, and it could be propelling you right on that eclipse in Pisces, as Saturn's also leaving into the eighth house of shared resources to begin the process of discerning who gets that dog, the cat, the sofa, the house, the property. So you should know by now what it feels like in your love life to have Saturn there for a year plus. Right? Closing down the story soon. Saturn, a year plus. It's 2023. Sometimes this means your partner could be controlling, negative, pessimistic, depressed, isolated, distant. You might have felt some of that, or having a life crisis, right? Like a Virgo friend of mine, her partner's mom died, right? So, your partner may have been going through it too, but it still impacts you, and the quality of the relationships is 2023. So anyway, the last testing of the relationship with the nodal eclipses in the fall through to spring of next year. Saturn at least isn't weighing down the relationship partnership itself anymore, and he's leaving it like a ball and chain. He's getting out of your seventh house, and you can take a breather. Okay. Also, the Venus star point in the house of fertility and romance. If you have children who can bear children, or if you're of a childbearing age, man or woman, Venus star pointing here is a fertility star point. Last happened, this will take you back to your life in 1994, 95. All right. She star pointed here with Mars. So did you conceive a child? Did you start a new love relationship? Did you get married? Did you do any of those things back then? Because that was the last time Venus star pointed in your fifth house. Or were your grandchildren coming into your life in 94 and 95? So she's done that star point on January 6th of 2026, and it will unfold by October 24th when she star points again in Scorpio, which is not really a love story for you. So other than maybe you and a love partner want to change your home or neighborhood or have a destination wedding, all of those are possible. Starting October 24th at about a year. But this star point is love and fertility. Venus rules that sperm and ovum. Mars and Venus are having sex in the fifth house. And so a lot of you might be looking at a kind of promise for a relationship bearing fruit, right? Which is children or whatever. But if you're single and you've been slogging through life, that North Node traveling through your seventh house all the way through until July 30th, well, at the same time, Venus is star pointed here, could more indicate that a new relationship for single Virgos could be coming this year by July the 30th. Mm-hmm. And the last thing I want to say about the star point in the fifth house, because Venus and Mars are also co-joined here, and it's pretty powerful, right? If you start a new romance under the sky before February 14th, let me be more clear. Anytime between January 6th and February 14th, any new love story that happens is deeply fated, but also will lead to a long-term, resilient, lasting connection. Okay, so it won't be just a date or two and then it's over. No, if you start something between January the 6th and February the 14th, even including the day of the 14th, you might find yourself sort of hitting the mother lode of that first date or that new relationship, really kicking off into a very quick moving, fast moving romance, passion, sexy time, but also a desire for the couple, you two, to commit and make it monogamous, lasting, and serious very quickly. Okay. We're going to draw a card for you, and we're going to go to the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed and see what she has to say about you and love in 2026 in our love scopes, horoscopes. Higher power, bring me a higher love. Well, that's an interesting one, because I would say higher power has a lot to do, in my very humble opinion, with the ninth house of the chart, the house of God. And the Venus star point flows up to your ninth house, the house of God in your sky. So that works. That works for you guys. And that would be your Taurus, Venus ruled fifth house, which is why grandchildren, by the way, and childbirth and children. So if you're a youngin' and you're dating someone or you're in a romance and you're not ready for kids, you're not married, you're not thinking it's that serious yet or something like that, please be careful, because when Venus star points in the fertility house and Uranus is in the childbirth house, you're going to be unexpectedly pregnant. Okay. And tell the same thing to your children if you have children as a Virgo. Okay. Higher power, number 4, but that's trust a higher power, right? In love and everything, including conception of children. There's something called the law of Eros, and it's about destined love stories and fated turning points in love. And I use that in client readings and stuff. I'll have to teach a class on it. But I've noticed that the law of love is also when people get pregnant. And the universe doesn't distinguish between the fifth house of romantic love and the fifth house of conceiving a child and having children. Isn't that interesting? Love is love, right? Okay, number 4. Here's your relationship message. It's time to address how much effort you give to your relationship with your higher power called God, Goddess, or Spirit. Yes, the house of God has got Uranus and he's trining Venus, a star point in the house of fertility, love, and romance. Recognize that your partnership with Spirit is your number one priority. The appearance of this card indicates that there's a deep spiritual bond between you and another person who is essential to your growth and to your evolution, whether you're with them now or going to meet them, right? Tend to your spiritual connections and remain aware of your true nature. Give it to God, basically, is where I'm going with that. If something happens, you get pregnant, give it to God. If something happens and you're falling madly in love and you're not, you shouldn't do that because maybe you're already married. I can see that too. Be careful because the universe is in charge. God's in charge. Goddess is in charge. This is so pretty. A student of mine sent this to me with astrological betting that knocked my socks off. Seda, thank you very much. Okay, so we're moving into the next story. Apparently. We're moving into the people called Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I swear, when I get to Libra every time, I have this feeling like I'm only really halfway through. That doesn't mean I'm tired, Libra. It just means like I'm only halfway through the zodiac. I'm like, oh my God, it's a long haul. It's a long, long way to Tipperary. Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Well, you are ruled by Venus, as is Taurus. That means you and love are hand in hand, hand in glove. And in fact, Libra is a sign of one-on-one relationship and legal contracts, including marriage. Number one, you are looking at the sky where you have been dealing up a chironic wound in the house of committed long-term love since 2019. And that can mean that love has disappointed you. It hasn't lasted. You've been wounded by your partner or you've chosen a wounded partner. Now, that doesn't mean the relationships are not important, these people that wounded you or you wounded them. In fact, it might be the best thing for you. Chiron brings healing medicine through the wounds themselves to heal deeper layers of who you are and what may trouble you when it comes to committed love. So you have the backdrop of Chiron, and the Chiron is leaving this summer. He'll be gone like, oh my God, maybe June, July, August, out of your marriage house, and then he'll be back again. Oh my God, I don't have those dates handy, but it's almost worth it for you, okay? Because this is going to like really turn you inside out and upside down. Okay, it's going to make you dizzy, so hang in there. It's going to make you dizzy because I can't hold your sign. But Chiron will leave Aries roughly. I just count on that to happen. Chiron will leave Aries on. Just try again, Lori. I think it's the end of June, like June 23rd. Oh, well, it is around June 23rd. So the last week of June, okay, through until, it's going to feel like relief. The last week of June until here, until around early May. So the last week of, oh no, last week of June until Are you dizzy yet? The last week of I am. I'm so dizzy. Oh my God. Chiron, when do you get the hell out of there? I am in 2028. Okay. This is driving me nuts. I apologize, guys. I'm going to go back by a year. I don't know how I ended up in 2028. So 2026, the last week of June. I know it's the last week of June. Chiron leaves Taurus, okay? And then he's not a year. He's going to be in, this is important. I wouldn't belabor it if it didn't matter to you because it's going to feel like the first time since 2019, the marriage commitment, long-term love wound is gone, right? So it's like epically important. And that's why I'm having problems. I'm going by month. Oh my God, guys. Okay, I'm going to get this down to a fine art. Let's go by week. So okay, here we go. So June 23rd, that's what I thought. Okay, I want you to write on your calendar June 23rd. Then I want to write, especially June 23rd. Then I want you to say from June 23rd until approximately mid-September. I'm never going to forget that again. From June 23rd to mid-September. Okay, this is what I want you to pay attention to. All right, let me get my ass back to your sign, Libra. From June 23rd to mid-September, Chiron, the wounded one, leaves your long-term committed love house. This can indicate a lightening up in a long-term committed love relationship or the introduction of a new love story. And also, if there are things about your partner that have been wounded, like they keep letting you down, they lie, they sneak around, they got health problems, whatever their wounds are, you might feel those wounds are lightening up and leaving the relationship, and the temperature of the relationship feels much better. So that's when relationships can really turn around that already exist. And with Jupiter traveling through your house of weddings and public ceremonies, and Jupiter will be in this part of your chart through till the end of June, it could look like there's something special about June the 23rd to June the 30th, like a wedding proposal or setting a wedding date or having a marriage or, consolidating the idea of getting married. So that's a really luscious time if you're in a relationship. Okay. And the other element is, if you're single at that same time, the last week of June 23rd to the end of the month, you could meet somebody new, but it would likely happen in a professional or work setting, okay? Or at a wedding. You're at a friend's wedding and you get introduced to someone, and the bride and groom say, you got to meet my friend Bob or my girlfriend Susan, and you can meet someone at a wedding and fall in love. That's just very specifically the last 7 days of June. Now, another way that love will show up for a Libra sun, moon, and rising sign based on this sky is the movement of Jupiter on June the 30th till July of 2027, that whole year. Because when Jupiter moves into the 11th house, he starts to eyeball the marriage house and the love and romance house. And it's one of those transits that often leads to a new relationship that emerges because you've been doing something with social groups and friends, or friends introduce you, or there's something connected to even sometimes colleagues and coworkers that lead you into a new relationship. And so that relationship auspiciously could come to you, thank you, Jupiter, most effectively as a general principle for your Libra rising sun and moon, starting on June 30th through to July 1st of 2027. Doubling down on the same story is that on July the 30th, the North Node of Fate will enter your house of romantic love. There are 2 or 3 ways this can play out. 1, you are going to conceive a child. Number 2, your children could conceive children. Number 3, you'll pay a lot of attention to your children. Number 4, destined, fated romantic love for single Libras will come into your life. So you're with someone already. It's very much a fertility transit to have the North Node moving through the 5th house, fated, destined conceptions of children. That will be after July the 30th, add a year, but then you have to add 18 months till the end of 2027. Libras who are dating, men or women, doesn't matter. High fertility transit. Okay. End of July this year to the end of 2027. But you add to that Jupiter is the sperminator witnessing the 5th house from up here and indicating again, yet another indication of high fertility. The same can apply to your children, indicating the birth of grandchildren for Libras who are not of childbearing age. If a North Node relationship is to begin, and this chart says it may, then it's going to feel very quickly like circumstances brought you guys together that were like fated indeed, right? Like you'll talk about the way you came together to friends and family, and you'll talk at the wedding about how we came together. It seems so destined, so fated. Who could have imagined it? That kind of thing. Saturn will enter into your 7th house of long-term committed love, Libras. He will enter that part of your chart starting on February 14th. And Neptune will be with him. Don't worry about Neptune now. It just means you could have some rose-colored glasses about new love. But Saturn will make you sober-minded and realistic and try to bring in a relationship that is spiritual and mystical and maybe soulmatey, but also has a solid seriousness to it. But here's the thing. If you are a single Libra and as Saturn enters into your 7th house this Valentine's Day, add 3 years till like late spring of 28, you're very likely meeting a very karmic relationship, but someone younger than or older than you by 6 to 7 years minimum. It always represents an age difference. I remember when I was dating the guy 18 years older than me or younger than me or 16, whatever it was, it was when Saturn was moving through my 7th house. If you're in a troubled relationship and the marriage is struggling and you're in a long-term committed love that's having a hard time, well, it's complicated. Saturn will try to structure new forms for the relationship, such as getting married, moving in, buying a house, getting, a wedding on the go. Okay. But Saturn here can also test the relationship, just as you would have a home inspector check the foundation of a house before you buy it. So now the relationship can go through a bit of a testing period as well. The other thing about Saturn's transit through the 7th house is your significant other in love may go through a melancholic, difficult, depressive, hard time. Maybe something in their life, a parent passes or whatever's going on. And you just might be there, to pat them on the back and give them some support. But they can also seem a little bit controlling sometimes or a little bit more distant emotionally when Saturn transits through the 7th house of the other person that you are with. Yeah, I've been watching this transit for many people a lot of the time. Besides the age difference with a new relationship, it definitely can make the relationship take on new form and structure. Quite often, I've seen couples move in together, get married, get proposed, set a wedding date, open up shared resources like shared bank accounts, that kind of stuff. So it's your turn. Virgos have already gone through this. And you're going to start to notice that beginning, the need to make the relationship more formal and more traditional and more serious, beginning on Valentine's Day, February 14th. Okay? If you have a relationship already. We're drawing a card from the Wisdom of the Oracle, Colette Baron Reed, and we're going to see what the sky has in store for you. That's funny. That's a Ksenia Morse expression. Go the distance. Okay. All right. Go the distance. It makes me think of a marathon, right? Go the distance. Let's see what that means in love. Go the distance. 47. Go the distance. All right. Libra. You either are in or are calling in a harmonious relationship. Okay. Well, Saturn will say serious, hardworking, and disciplined relationship too. That can stand the test of time. Saturn, Chronos, the time chronicator. Yes. Saturn will move into your 7th house, the test of time. For better or worse, as you ride the ups and downs and even strain or break yourself, you are remade and are remade in new growth. You are being redeemed by the power of regeneration. Harmony does not mean that there will never be a wrong note played in the relationship, but that the relationship is marked by endurance and dedication to overall unity. That's Saturn, guys. He makes you work hard for it, but it's worth the effort. And that starts in February and lasts for 3 years. A new song can be written, an instrument can be tuned, and the symphony of love will play on. Listen with your heart. Isn't it magnificent? If you start a new relationship while Saturn is transiting your 7th house through till late spring of 28, that relationship will endure. Okay. Remember that guy I told you about that was 16 years older than me? We're best friends. I went to his wedding with his wife, etc. We became an enduring relationship. It didn't necessarily take on the committed marriage for him, but it was a very important and enduring love story. Okay. Now we're moving on to the next sign. I think I need water. I'll be right back and we'll keep on going. So we're moving past Libra, and that means we're going into the land of Scorpio. And Scorpio, wow, it's going to be a big deal. I don't think I'm sharing. Am I sharing? Nope. But I will. I'll get there. So for the Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising people, what about love in 26? One way or the other? It's going to be a turning point year. One thing I will have to point out is that you have a Venus star point in Scorpio on October the 24th in your sign at 0 Scorpio. Of course, if you're, ascendant sun or moon is close to 0 Scorpio, you're feeling it more strongly. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. You're all still feeling it. Now, this is a last in a lifetime Venus star point. She skipped a beat in October of 2022. She star pointed in Libra instead at 29 degrees and took a vacation from this part of the chart. The good news with a Venus star point in the first house, it often brings fertility. You become fertile. And if you are in a relationship and wishing to bear children for the next 4 years, you are fertile starting in October. But it can also just be the introduction of children. Why children? Because yes, Venus is sperm and ovum, because she's the exaltation lord of your house of children. So if you are a Scorpio and you want to have children, or you are thinking about what would be nice to have more grandkids, both of those stories get a huge amplification in your sky starting October the 24th at about 10 months to a year for you to notice right away that, oh my God, I'm pregnant. My partner's pregnant. My kids are pregnant. Okay. The other element when Venus star points here and starts a new story in your sign, not only does she exalt your house of children, but she rules your house of marriage. And so for single Scorpios as well, new romantic love, the fifth house that she exalts, connected to committed and long-term agreements like marriage or cohabitation, are in the works for you. So if you're a single Scorpio, that Venus star point this fall can jettison you into a powerful karmic destined new relationship that has a lot of surprises, because Uranus is like, surprise, I never thought I'd date someone who was XYZ, not my type. Outside the box. Well, there you go. Turns out that's not true. Oh, I'm hetero. Maybe you're not, Hey, I'm gay. Maybe you're not. So there's just something about being shocked by the kind of love story that can unfold October of this 24th at a year. However, you might notice starting in September, October, November, into December, that the connection to a new love story might almost be connected to far off lands and distant shores, right? So maybe also the person has a different religion, skin color, background, language than you do. And there's a possibility of that is the thing that's outside the box for you, not the type that you're normally with, right? Now, if you're already in a relationship, of course, the star point will indicate likely an activation for fertility, right? More intimacy, more sex, more enjoyment. Or if you're with someone but you haven't tied the knot, then this could open up doors for a more legal contract and a more long-term commitment that involves marriage or marriage-like circumstances like cohabitation or common law choices in love. So that's another way it may work out for you, but you probably won't see the real gist and juice of it, more likely, until the fall. Now, the other element here is definitely for grandchildren. That's Jupiter in your ninth house, flowing to your house of kids. And if you're going to end up with a grandchild out of the sky, I wouldn't be surprised. But the Venus star point will not be a part of that story. This Jupiter transit through the house of grandchildren is preceding the transit, the star point in the fall. Jupiter will leave this part of your chart, your ninth house, and say sayonara on June 30th. And so if you're going to conceive a grandchild, or your children are, or you're going to even conceive a child, Jupiter said, I'll help you conceive, right? Children or grandchildren can be conceived. That started last June, and it's coming to its close on June 30th. It's a very strong fertility transit in the engagement of love and romance. So when you're dating, still be careful to June 30th that you're not dating and get someone pregnant by mistake. Otherwise, this is a welcome transit for people trying to have kids or parents wishing to have grandchildren. So my son is a Scorpio rising, and I just found out he and his wife are having a baby. I'm not surprised. I see it in both their charts. They're 3 months in, and they are making my first grandchild. So I'm so delighted. But this is what is still ongoing for older Scorpios with kids through to June 30th. You might be hearing that you're going to become a grandparent. Now, the Venus star point down here, right, is also amplifying fertility, and she's star pointed on January 6th, but it also can bring in new love and romance through travel, teaching and learning environments, and the local neighborhood, going to the restaurants, going to the shops, getting your gas in the car, whatever you do in your local neighborhood environment, because Venus is resetting the love story from the local neighborhood for you on January the 6th. This plays out basically till the end of October, where just by doing things in your local hood, you might bump into a love relationship that can be quite lasting and significant. If you go back to what you were doing in 1994, especially, but a little bit also into 1995, did you start a new long-term love relationship then, or did something significant happen in the area of long-term and committed love stories? Because if it did, you might be just doing a rinse and repeat. It is possible for any Venus star point to begin or end love. But if you ended a love relationship back in 94, 95 as a Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising, it may have ended on a kind of a namaste note regarding the children and the custody, and you do this and I do that, because of the way the sky indicates the trine to the marriage house. All right. Any other stories that you must know about in terms of your love scope that I would want you to know about? Saturn leaves your marriage, your sex and romance house, right, on February 14th, and you've been dealing with this heavier energy in the sexual arena, in the romantic and sexual intimacy part of your love life ever since 2023 March. If you were single as a Scorpio, you could have dated people significantly older or younger than you by at least 6 or 7 years. Okay. Otherwise, you might have felt finding the fun, play, joy, and pleasure in the romance is feeling heavy or dutiful or hard. That's going to completely go away on February 14th and not come back again for 30 years. So there's a relief there for you where you can finally let go of some heaviness in the romantic sphere. It could also just been really hard to date or to meet somebody, and that's going to change for you. But in an existing relationship, those 3 years from March of 2023 to February 14th of this year might have meant that you were in the sort of in the mud with the romance part of the relationship. That let's have fun. Let's go on a romantic date. Let's have crazy sex. Some of that might have felt really muted or really strained for you as well. And any kind of road trip or domestic travel or online learning and Zoom rooms can actually be a weird place for you to meet someone. But if you're single, Scorpios, give yourself the next year, starting from this January till the end of October, to meet somebody under the circumstances I just described to you. Now we're going to draw a card for you and see what we get. And let me do that now. What does the Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid offer you in 2026 Love Scope for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising? There is no place like home. No place like home. That's funny. Can you be at home in your love life? Let's take a look. Number 50. I have a girlfriend who's a Scorpio, and she just moved back to her home country from abroad. And I think that's going to mean that she's going to find love at home. I think that she's been single for quite a long time, 7 years. 50, number 50. All right. Sorry, guys, it's at the end of the deck. All right. No place like home. There's no place like home, says Dorothy. All right. Hey, lovers, friends, and companion animals are at home in your life right now, meaning 2026. You are in sync and full of love, and you can be secure in the knowledge that it is reciprocated. Relationships elicit a sense of emotional safety, comfort, and the best aspects of familiarity now. Be home in this relationship. Together, you add the love of the world. So again, that's the promise of something new, and that's the promise of something that you already have going in that direction. All right. I love that card for relationship. You should feel at home in the relationship, right? And sometimes that's not always easy because people grow apart, and then, it doesn't feel as familiar or comfortable as it once did. I am sharing. Okay. And we move to the next sign, and that is Sagittarius. It is Sun, Moon, and Rising Sagittarius. All right. So first of all, you're Jupiter ruled. So pay attention to whatever Jupiter does. He's not in a place that brings love and romance that I would go into myself. Okay. For lasting love, just so you know. But he's more in a place where he wants to know if you want to separate the assets in a divorce settlement. Just saying, So that's that. So your Lord Jupiter is like, who gets what? Let's share the bounty. That's one thing I will point to. It's not the Lord of your sign isn't like jamming for a new love story. And any existing love stories might be going through financial settlement territory. That's number one. However, there are other places that love can happen in the chart. In your love, sex, and intimacy, like really think about how has this wound been for you since 2019. Chiron entered here in February, and you've been dealing with intimacy wounds, love wounds, sexual love life wounds, maybe some wounds with your children too, and the relationship to them. And that's going to end. You're going to get a break there. June the 23rd to mid-September, September 15th. Chiron leaves your sign for a bit. Now, don't worry, in 27, he's gone for good, but you've got this nice time frame here, kind of like all of July, all of August to mid-September, late June, that you can feel a lot lighter about sex and love and romance. It will be great for dating and meeting new people if you're single and you've always been feeling like dates don't work for me, going on dates, I don't connect, and nothing feels like it's gelling. I feel like I'm completely the outsider. Chiron's wound is the outsider. It's also the child given up by his mother. So he's got a mother wound. So how has your mother wounds or feeling like the outsider in love led you to disappointment since 2019? Yeah, we all went through the pandemic. That didn't help. So there's all kinds of complications, right? Now that wound is going to lighten up, as I said, last week of June to mid-September, which I would tell you go on dates, right? But the universe could bring you someone when the wound is lightened up, right? When you don't have the intensity of that wound that's completely knocked you off your feet sometimes in the past. And one other thing about your story is that the Venus star point, which can bring love, she's right here, star pointing in your second house of speech and communication and money. She did star point January 6th, squaring the chironic wound. And that could really indicate a real breaking away from an old pattern in love, but it may be involving finances. So maybe you've always felt like not good enough to date someone wealthy, or you always felt like you had to rely on your partner's money and you're afraid to leave the relationship. There are stories, or you thought maybe my partner's a gold digger, or do they really love me? So wounds around money and love and sex and romance, this thing has been instigated by a Venus star point and will change the way you see relationships and romance and love by the time we get to October of 2026. Then on October the 24th of 2026, Venus will open up a new star point in the 12th house and witness the 6th house across the way, which is her territory. Now, there is a possibility that could bring a new relationship into your life, but it may involve somebody from foreign lands and foreign shores, or because you are traveling to a foreign country. And you will not recognize that as a possibility until we get to the star point of the 24th. Okay, you could be traveling with a group of people, with friends, with social community, because of the Libra interface there in the fall. But because the Sun and Venus will co-join, and the Sun rules your house of distant foreign shores, and the 12th house is similar, spiritual community, ashrams, religious community, university and academic settings, and ashrams and pilgrimages and long distance travel are ways that new love can show up for you starting on October 26th, if you want a relationship, because some of you are ending something from my view of this year, right? Some of you are like getting out of Dodge in a committed love story. So because I would say that the Venus star point in the 12th house doesn't open the doors until October, it might be a better time if you're going to go abroad, or you want to meet somebody and you're going to really hope I meet somebody in university. You could, but I would wait till the third week of October. I wouldn't expect much yet, because Venus is going to die in the Sun's heart, and then she's going to be born again, and she may open up the love stories after that. And that Venus awakening of new love in the ways I described from October the 24th, you're going to add about a year to see evidence of that new relationship blossoming in your life. Mercury is the Lord of your 7th house. Your 7th house is the house of marriage. Mercury is in an elemental water year. Houses 12, 4, and 8 are hyperactive. Again, shared resources, divorce settlements, separation agreements, but also the potential to meet somebody with a deep spiritual connection to you because of themes to do with being abroad or in a far off land from your home. And some of you don't look like you're selling a home, you're selling a property connected to the end of a relationship. For some of you, by the end of this year, that should make sense to you. Okay. And one thing I'll say is that Venus exalts the house of home and property for you, and Jupiter is in dignity. If there's a separation or ending and you're worried about, your share of the assets or resources, you should be pretty protected. Okay. You should be okay. You get the home, or you get the portion of the home, or you get the most of the proceeds from the home, or selling the home goes well, your partner doesn't disagree. So you can have a harmonious vibe to ending a relationship, this, ready to end, if that's what is going to happen. In the middle of the year, starting let's just make it simple, July 1st, and then add 12 months into the summer of 2027. That's extremely positive for new love stories. It's also good for winning in a court settlement and a divorce, but it's extremely good for new love stories that come through travel, foreign lands, foreign people, and adventures, academics, and all of the stuff I described. But also, it's a fertility transit. So if you are of a fertility age, you can make a baby off of that one, right? You and your partner. Starting July 1st, add 12 months. Similarly, it could lead to the birth of grandchildren as well. Let's grab a card and see what we got for Sagittarius. What do you guys think? Have I been here about an hour already? Well, probably, right? I think I need to go off and get some pho. It's a rainy, cold day in Vancouver, Canada, and I have a hunger attack. I'm like, need to eat. I got clean it up. That doesn't sound good. Clean it up. What do you need to clean up in love? You got a chironic wound, right? In the house of love. That's a mother wound, FYI. Chiron's got a mother wound. So nothing worse than a mother wound in the house of sex and romance. So you might need to really look at that mother wound. Are you a mother's boy or girl or whatever? Or did your mother wound you somehow and you haven't gotten over it? 21. It's time to clear the air. Take a look at your side of the street and say to your partner what's on your mind. Sweep away the old stuff so that spring breezes can flow through with new energy. It's the perfect time to do an inventory of your dynamics in love and see what is and what is not yours to clean up in the relationship. There's a good old expression, you're responsible for 100% of your 50% in any given relationship, period. And if you're going to take over more responsibility, you're called an overfunctioner, and your partner is the wounded bird. Everyone brings some baggage. Sort through what you brought with you, including your chironic sex and love wound since 2019. Sort through what you brought with you and let go of what is no longer needed. Become unencumbered and your relationship will flourish. Okay, there you go. No comment, right? Sadly, I know a couple of Sages, and I think right away these particular people I know, and I can't believe how that card really just fit. All right. All right, let's keep going. Moving to Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. Give me some love, guys. Hit the like button and subscribe, please, please. It helps channel grow, hype the video, whatever else. And if you like this kind of content, you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Alrighty. Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising. Number one, Jupiter is transiting your seventh house ever since last year, okay, in June, through until this year, until June 30th. What does it mean? It means you're likely to want to end relationships with wisdom and truth and knowing that it's time to close those relationships up. And at the same time, new relationships can come in. It's a little bit of a, what do you call it when you go through the door? Turnstile. It's like a turnstile of love here, and rotating door, whatever. And the thing with Jupiter here is that Jupiter is wise and all-knowing, and he has been difficultly aligned with the sky Last summer, he was squaring Saturn, making for hardship in the home and a relationship or distance between people. And then he ended up retrograding in the late fall through to March 11th. And retrogrades can bring old lovers from your past who are connected to you in a committed, monogamous way back into your life. Or, you might be reflecting on your former long-term relationships and doing an inventory and trying to figure out knowledge, truth, and wisdom from almost inspecting forensically how your marriages or long-term committed love stories went in the past and what went wrong and why they went wrong. So understanding knowledge and wisdom and truth about committed love has been a journey for the last 5 months. Now on March the 11th, this is ending and he will bounce forward and start moving very quickly at 15 degrees of the sign of Cancer, exalted, you're in your marriage house. He will bound forward on March 11th. So if your Capricorn sun, moon, and rising is near 15, it's a lot more intense degrees, but all of Capricorns feel it. And there's going to be a dynamic speedboat of Jupiter in his speedboat moving forward in the marriage and commitment house. So where before there was inspection, forensics, diving into the past, thinking about your patterns, maybe having gone through a difficult time last summer, June, July, August, in a relationship that you were in, maybe including marriage. Now Jupiter's like, I got this. We've done the investigation. We went through the difficulties and we're moving forward, everybody, March 11th to June 30th. So if a relationship's been strained, it could bounce forward. If a relationship's been strained, Jupiter ends it with executive command and everybody agrees it's a good thing to end. If a relationship hasn't ended already, given what's been going on in your sky with Jupiter. And finally, if you're single, somebody new. Or if you're just only in the dating phase, then March 11th to June 30th could bring a commitment phase, more or legal or, marriage style commitment. And Jupiter moving through the sky happens only every 12 years, right? So 2014, 15, summer, midsummer, 2002, 2003. But, sorry, that's wrong. The years before that, 2013, 14, 2001, 2002, Jupiter went through your marriage house. So did you have a divorce? Did you get married? What happened with relationships? Go back and compare notes. So this is a big, big, big deal for you, okay? This is a big year for that stuff. Now, at the same time, Uranus has been going to your sex, love, and romance house since 2018. This is very different energy in sex, love, and romance. First of all, it can bring children, unexpected pregnancy, unexpected grandchildren, but it can also bring a kind of outside the box, breaking the rules, a non-traditional type sex and love relationships, right? You may find yourself doing things differently since 2018 as Uranus entered here. It's a very erratic energy. It's also very unusual and it's like not traditional at all. It's breaking up stagnation in the area of traditional connections to love and romance. Taurus is traditional. So you can see that there's been a lot of shattering here of the way you approach sex itself and romance and love. So, and romantic love in particular, falling in love, all of that stuff. And it could have led to a few very fast-moving, swift lightning bolt love stories, right? Just thunder, lightning, just hit you like a ton of bricks. And yet it's not a very stable energy. And so maybe you've gone back and thought, 2018 till listening to this video, I sure wasn't stable in love. It wasn't like I was having one long-term love partner. If you did, there were disruptions in that relationship. There were maybe sexual shocks in that relationship as well. Maybe more freedom, maybe polyamory, that kind of stuff. Now, one thing I'll say about that is that Uranus is getting out of Dodge, right? I'm not going to stick around, guys. July the 26th, he's out of there. He's finito. He doesn't care anymore about that story. And so you might expect then on April the 26th, that your sex life shockaroos and jolts of unpredictability are going to end, right? So start on April the 26th, and for the rest of your life, for the next 84 years, you don't have that enervation going through your romance house. It will be gone. So then any new love stories that come in can stabilize a lot better than they could in the past. All right. What else can you look to? The Venus star point. On January the 6th, Venus became one with the sun in the house of your identity. And with Mars co-present, the last time it happened this way was 1994-95. It started like December 27th of 1993. It closed out around March or April of 1996. So you can go all of 94, all of 95 into the beginning spring of 1996. What changes happened to you in your first house connected to baby making and fertility, sex and love and romance and marriage? Because that's exactly what happened then. And it's back again. You could make a baby. You could get it grandparented out. You could have a new relationship take off. You could get married. Because the Venus star point happened on January 6th in your sign right here, and Uranus was still here, unexpected pregnancy, shocking, swift-moving new relationships that lead to commitment really quickly. And that energy is baked in, like you would bake in something into a clay tablet and put it in the kiln, like the Sumerian tablet says baked into your sky is a theme through till October 24th. So let's summarize that. Fast-moving, swift, romantic and sexual relationships leading to fast levels of commitment, also possibly fertility and pregnancy and grandchildren and your own children, like making children, all that stuff. It's exciting. It's fast moving with Uranus. With Jupiter in your 7th house, you may start dating somebody who has children, right? That's your partner has Jupiter, the Lord of Children, right now. So any new relationships that you start dating someone, you could end up also being a co-parent to someone else's children under this kind of sky, just so you know. All right, just as like a theme of what's going on here. And that might have happened in 1994-95, right? Because that was the last time a Venus star point happened in your first house, but Jupiter wasn't across the way. This time it's even more likely. Because there's a thing when Venus is star pointing in your sign, it represents sperm and ovum, like you're going to produce a child. And I wonder in this chart if you could also end up with someone else's child under your roof or something like that. When I look at this guy, I also would say that the Venus star point of October 24th in Scorpio will happen right up here. That Venus star point can open up a new love story that comes from social groups, friendships, collegiate work relationships. Through social groups of belonging, you may encounter a new person and fall in love, but that doesn't really open up that story until the fall. And it does connect a lot to your 10th house. So if you're single and you need a relationship to come to you, because that's what you're ready for, right? You could look for that relationship to likely show up, if it's going to, in September, October, November, December, but connected to work and work and career related intersections or friends and groups of belonging. By then, Jupiter's gone from your 7th house. Okay. By then, Jupiter will be in your 8th house of money and resources. So if you wanted to talk about a relationship not making it through the Jupiter transit, because as I mentioned already, he's very much like you always get what you want. Don't always get what you want. You get what you need. And Jupiter has been going through difficulties here, squaring Saturn and retrograding till March 11th in a legal formal marriage as Jupiter goes direct and moves into your 8th house starting on July 1st and then add a year. You could be in marital asset separation and agreements. You could also get inheritances. So you can kind of say both are true because, whatever, chunks of money coming from, but it could also be chunks of money coming from a significant relationship separation agreement that may emerge as you cut apart the assets between two people. And Chiron, the wounded one in the 4th house of home and legacy wealth and property, he's going to leave there June 23rd to mid-September and give you a break on being wounded with where you live and not belonging and feeling like the outsider. Alrighty. So you may want to think about a move that could be quite significant on June the 23rd. To mid-September, but it also can be because some of you are separating your assets. So when we go all of July, all of August into mid-September, there could be relocation due to relationship endings and asset separation and agreements around the money and the home and the properties that you might have with a significant other. Or you could just be moving. Either one is true. All right, I'm going to draw a card for you, and let's pull a card from the old Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron Reed. And it's like, what is the vibe for love in 2026 in our love scope for you, Pappies? To be fair, number 38. Somebody is balancing, I think. No? What are they doing? Owl on their head and four hands outward on the top of a mountain. That's perfect for a Capricorn, right? On the top of the mountain. Okay. To be fair, well, some of you, to be fair, might be going through legal separation agreements. So let's be fair about it. Card number 38. Okay. Life offers experiences that are challenging and experiences. Oh, that's not it. I wasn't reading the love story. Can you find a way to achieve fairness right now? This is a time for listening as well as speaking, for understanding as well as asking to be understood. There is much to be learned, and you will learn it as you remain open and objective, weighing options and considering all sides in a relationship. Your heart wants to connect to others, therefore allow a balanced exchange of ideas and actions. The best kind of relationship is one in which there is mutual benefit and each party feels heard, valued, and respected. Be fair to all. Alrighty, fair is good when one's coming into ends. If some of you are ending by the end of this year, some of you will be letting go of a relationship. All right, the next sign is Aquarius, and I am one of you. I'm an Aquarius. Rising. All right, let's move forward. It's time for Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising sign. Hey, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. It is a year that is going to be all about 2026 love scopes. Gotta love the love scopes of the year, right? All right, the biggest story straight off the bat, without even thinking twice, right, is Jupiter moving into Leo, your seventh house of committed love. And he'll arrive on the doorstep of your seventh house on June the 30th, and he'll be there for a whole year. Therefore, when Jupiter transits the seventh house, if you're in a relationship, Jupiter will give you knowledge, wisdom, and truth, and know whether to keep it or let it go. But if you're not in a relationship, it also makes your partner lucky too. Like your significant other can be more lucky, expansive, and have lots of good shit happen to them. But on the other hand, if you're single, then that could bring in a very powerful new love story, especially for females. In Vedic astrology, Jupiter is the ideal spouse for a woman, whereas Venus would be the ideal spouse for a man. And so as Jupiter moves through your seventh house, and you're going to have him there for that whole year, end of June, 12 months, you could find yourself coming into a brand new love story. Now, Jupiter can end them as well. I've used me as an example many times. 2014 to 16, he was here. No, 2014 to 15, summer of 14 to summer of 15. And I ended a relationship, right, with my significant marriage partner. What was the beginning? It was the unraveling stage. And then when Jupiter moved into the eighth house, we separated home. So, there's a story for you to consider here. But if you make it and Jupiter tests the relationship and thinks it's, you always get what you want, you get what you need. Well, he says, okay, you want it maybe, and you need it. We're going to keep it. Okay, that's great. Some of you will be tested in the next year. Those of you who are single, well, you have nothing to test. You're not in a relationship. So this brings that person in. It could be a generous, leaderful, wealthy, optimistic, positive person, just as a general category of Jupiterian energy with a spiritual path even. Or they could, because of Leo, be very leaderful, right? Also like very, very much in a position of leadership and something they've accomplished in their life. And Jupiter here is auspicious for love. To start a relationship with Jupiter in your seventh house is positive. Now, the other thing to pay attention to is that when we look at love stories, we often want to look at the romance and sex house right here, number 5. And Uranus is getting ready to leave the fourth house of home and land and property, where Uranus has been traveling since 2018, May. And basically it meant disruptions. You could have done internet work from your home and done really well, which I did. But it also means disruptions of where you live that come swiftly and unexpectedly and surprisingly. I can't count them, guys. I can't count them. So how about you, fellow Aquarians? I've had a lot of home disruptions since 2011. I've been a tenant for one thing. And that has, really been disruptive. Now, Uranus will enter into your fifth house on April the 26th and be there for 7 years. It's particularly interesting that, well, Uranus will enter into this part of your chart of sex, love, and romance on the third week of April. Well, at the same time, Jupiter will finally get to your seventh house. So hear me out. It is particularly auspicious for a new relationship to begin in your life starting in July, because not only will Jupiter be moving through your seventh house, but Uranus will have ingressed into your fifth. That would be like a lightning bolt strike of big love, right? I want you to say it again, a lightning bolt strike of big love. This will be like thunder, lightning. The way you love me is frightening, exciting, exhilarating, maybe with Uranus outside the box, like not my type or something, but it's still exciting. And, it's not like you don't like Uranus because he's your modern ruler, right? But it is an exciting time because he does trine you, and there's something very, very powerful about meeting somebody under a Uranus Jupiter sextile, which will be very active in the month of July, but you'll still be feeling it until August. But all through the rest of the year, really, just Jupiter will be in Leo. Uranus will be in your fifth house. Those two stories are true through the summer of next year, where those two are in a whole sign sextile. So exciting, exhilarating, fast moving, swift thunderbolts of big love are coming your way. But I don't think they'll show up until we get Jupiter in the seventh house. So don't even bother on a dating app. Don't even try. You're going to want to wait until July 1st. Otherwise, any new beginnings will likely not make the cut. Jupiter is in the house of karmic debt relationships right now. You started the year with him there. He went there in January. This is your sixth house. June of last year. He'll be here till July 1st. And I found that he moves through this house kind of like the good housekeeping seal of approval, but also like, oh, you got a karmic shelf life on something. It's time to end that relationship. It's kind of like a karmic. What's a good analogy, guys? Jupiter's wisdom and truth, and karmic relationships are a sixth house axis with 12. So there's a kind of like a karmic clearing, a karmic blessing, a blessed karmic clearing that goes on here. And Jupiter will not finish that journey of that, what he's trying to do there, until the end of June. All right. So some relationships could end in order for Jupiter to bring something new in his 1 year stay in your seventh house, starting on July 1st. All right. There's a Venus star point that happened on January 6th. It may indicate new love stories can emerge from distant shores on far off lands. People who live far away from where you currently live may be an indication of how a new love story could happen. Venus is the ruler of your ninth house of foreign lands. For sure that could happen. So you may meet someone because you're traveling, or they may be traveling through where you live, and there may be some intersection with somebody under a different like skin color, religion, language, background, ethnicity, all of that. Also, there will be a Venus star point as well in Scorpio, which will happen on October the 26th. And a Venus star point in your 10th house is the last in a lifetime, October 24th, I should say. And because it goes back and forth between the ninth house, it could lead to a wedding. But if it's a wedding, it may have to do with the word travel, international, or legal. So you might be doing a legal marriage. Like, okay, how can we possibly get together if you live like in Greece and I live in, Brazil or something? And so there almost could be a formal need for a wedding in order to consolidate a relationship legally for, distance reasons, for example. And that, if that was to be true, you'll find evidence for that. Also, by the way, relationships built on people involved in spiritual community, share your ideals spiritually, share your religious values or your spiritual path as well. But anyway, the Venus star point in October 24th, starting September, October, November, December, you might start to see evidence of where this is going. And it could indicate a legal wedding or marriage agreement by let me do math. Okay. by midsummer, by July of 2027, or the end of the summer, August of 2027. Could put some of you in wedding bells mode, all right? And I think that's what I have for us, for sure. Don't forget when Uranus enters your fifth house, where he'll be starting on April 26th, 7 years. Your children can unexpectedly produce children. So you shockingly and unexpectedly become a grandparent. All right. So there's that too. Or you could unexpectedly conceive children, depending on your age. All right. So be careful on your birth control methods starting this April 26th and add 7 years. Believe me, I've got enough client examples of Uranus moving through the fifth house of children to see unexpected pregnancies over and over and over and over again. You just can't make this up because it is like one of the most reliable accidents, even when people are using super powerful birth control, right? And yeah, even like I had one woman I knew she had IUD, like those are supposed to be ironclad-ish, and still she got pregnant, That was complicated. She had to have the IUD removed so she could have the child because she got pregnant with Uranus in her fifth house. So I'm warning you guys, and that includes men, soulmate. Okay, well, that doesn't surprise me. I kind of buried the lead. I forgot to mention the North and South Node. The North Node is moving through. The North Node is moving through our sign of Aquarius, and the South Node of past lives is moving through the seventh house, where Jupiter will go. So that will begin a potential soulmate relationship of great power in your life. That will likely be very obvious to you sometime after the South Node enters your seventh house, which will be July the 30th. And then you're going to add 18 months for a soulmate relationship. More likely to show up July the 30th through to July 1st, let's say, of 2027. Let's read the soulmate card. Okay, let's do. I buried the lead. I hope people stuck around for that. I don't know. My brain forgot about the nodes. Don't ask. This is just, part of it. 41. Part of menopause. 41. Here we go. Consider love in the deepest sense, love so powerful that you will never be the same regardless of how long your relationship lasts. Consider friendships and romantic bonds so compelling that they overwhelm you with gratitude or break you open so that you will finally claim who you were meant to be. Even a companion animal reminds you that it is you who is being rescued and healed. Pay attention, for you are in the presence of a soulmate come to guide you home to the real you in 2026. Starting, no, I don't think any sooner than the end of July, and add, a year to 18 months. All right, guys. And last but not least, and best but always best, and wonderfully mystical and poetic, are my Pisces people. And let's pull you into the narrative. I love Pisces people. I have to do the share button. How many Pisces in my life? Virgos and Pisces are on my vertex, anti-vertex, and that's why I have a ton of you guys in my life. All right. So Pisces, sun, moon, and rising sign. When it comes to love and relationship, you've been going through a very challenging time. The South Node of fate entered into your sky in Virgo in January of 2025. And as that occurred, that may have begun to destabilize relationships that you have, marriage type, committed, monogamous, one-to-one relationships, particularly love relationship. And the South Node is to release, surrender, and let go. Now, if you met somebody under that Pisces, you began a relationship under that, and some of you may have, it's fated, it's destined, and it's connected to past lives. However, there's always a weird thing sometimes with the South Node where it's very karmic and it may have a shelf life to it, right? So may not last if you began something in January of 25. And by the time we get to July 30th of 2026, those relationships will either be standing the test of time or ending. Now, if you began a relationship before the South Node entered into Virgo, so we're talking about before January 11th of 25, and then the South Node started January 11th of 25, heading through your seventh house, it probably felt like the relationship was flushed down the drain or flushing down the drain or ending. Something was leaking there. It was going away. There was a releasing or a surrendering going on. That energy is still in play through till midsummer until the end of the month of July. Because if a relationship is feeling weaker and weaker and less strong, you might find not only that, but you might find your partner also has health challenges as well. The South Node can bring health challenges to your committed love partner's life as well. Now, the other thing is, when the North Node, South Node axis changes its groove, and the South Node leaves this relationship house and moves into your sixth house, you could start dating people that have a very fated circumstantial vibe, like destined dating, let's call it, for sure. That's a thought, but you could also be getting some destined work. So we'll not cover that now. But there is a new story that's going to happen. So you might say, oh my God, I've been clinging to this relationship and it feels wrong. And then you'll know by the end of July, like if it's done, it's done, right? It's over, it's over. Still, if you're single and you're not dating anybody and the South Node's moving your seventh house all the way through, as I said, January 11th of last year, all the way through to July 30th of this year, then that could bring a very karmic relationship into your life. Now, in particular, there's an eclipse on March the 3rd in the sign of Virgo. I believe it's total lunar eclipse. And that could really either end a significant relationship dramatically, or it could jumpstart a new relationship dramatically. So look for that eclipse on March the 3rd, which will unfold over 6 months to do either or both of those things. And a full moon eclipse can be like shining an eerie light on a scene. You know, like I love that Austin Coppock brought up the old luminol at the crime scene. Spray the luminol, see the golden, the purple glow of the blood that was someone tried to mop up. And it's a little bit like that. Suddenly there's a luminosity that's eerie and red and has a weird glow to it in your marriage and long-term committed love house. And it can help you see things in a new light that are dramatically life-changing in the relationship you're in, the one you're leaving or the one you're getting into. All of them count, right? Major energies there. The other thing going on here in terms of relationship and love and romance is Jupiter, obviously. And since last June through till this year's June 30th, he's been traveling through your sex, love, and romance house. Probably getting tired of me saying it, but Jupiter is, you don't always get what you need. What you want, you get what you need. He's got the Rolling Stones song under his belt. It's because he's wise and true, knowledge and wisdom, gnosis, knowing. And as he moves through this part of your chart, he's giving you what you need to know in order to know, should you keep the relationship that you're in? Should you vacate the love relationship? What's going on here? Now, he retrograded. First of all, he had a difficult start last year. So like July, August, he was squaring Saturn. That might have felt your relationships felt heavy. Your romance life felt heavy. You might have had Saturn's like a chastity belt on the relationship. Things weren't going so smoothly. And then you might have had hard conversations about love and relationship with people. But then Jupiter also went retrograde last fall, and he doesn't go direct till March the 11th, another challenge. And retrograde Jupiter in the romance house can bring former romantic love partners from the past back into the present. Also, you might be nostalgic about your love and sex life and looking to understand deep wisdom and truth, glean knowledge, forensically investigate. You might also find that until Jupiter goes direct on March 3rd through to June 30th, if there is a relationship in your life and you're not sure if you should keep it or not, you will know by March the 11th, okay, through to June 30th, as he goes bolting forward at high speed in your romance house. Jupiter here is also going to bring you children or grandchildren, either one, depends on your age, and he's going to try his best to bring you children or grandchildren through until June 30th. So expect that as well to keep playing out here. Venus managed to star point, okay, which means that she joined the sun in Capricorn in your 11th house. And because Venus is the goddess of love as well as beauty, there's a potential that that star point on January the 6th, which unfolds till third week of October this year, could jumpstart love relationships for singletons looking for a relationship. Okay. But you might meet that person through friends, groups of belonging, or collegiate and coworker settings, as an example. And that star point that happened takes you back to 1994, 95, into early 1996, when you're comparing jump-starting love stories from the house of friends and social groups, right, and friendship circles. And so that you can meet somebody under those conditions as well. You've got that Saturn realism with the dreamy-eyed, visionary Neptune looking at the house of marriage and romance. And so you've got a combination of practical, realistic, and sober-minded realism married to a desire for, enlightenment-y, unconditionally loving, and soulmate-y vibe. That's what you carry as this year begins. But you lose that enchanted viewpoint once these planets move into your second house, which will be on January 26th. And also on February 14th. And the combination by the 20th could be a disillusionment or disenchantment around love and relationship and sex. And it may also come through the word money, but it's going to finish up what Jupiter and Saturn didn't finish up in your sign. All right. The star point in Scorpio is going to be happening in the 9th house. That could, Venus is fertility, ovum, sperm, conception. This is a house of grandchildren. Having the Venus star point in your 9th house, though, could also bring you love from a foreign land. This is going to occur, this star point, on October 24th. Between October the 24th and add 9 more months, you might expect to see you are going to be a grandparent, or you could also find yourself in a situation where you fall in love with somebody from a distant shore, a far off land, a different country, a different language, different religious background, different skin color, all of those ethnic differences. And this star point here that's going to pop really tightly, exactly, here on the 24th, will be accompanied by Jupiter by then in Leo, right? So that opens up a very karmic axis and activates long distance and travel related love stories. For singletons, you might meet someone traveling. They might be traveling your way. You can meet them in spiritual communities or ashrams as well. And there can be an exciting new relationship coming through those areas of your life, but it wouldn't likely show up until the fall, predictably not till after October the 24th. And that's what I've got for you, Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising next year in your love scope. Let's draw a card from The Wisdom of the Oracle by Colette Baron-Reid. And I think I probably went longer than 90 minutes, but you can only do this in so much time without talking like an auctioneer, which people say I do anyway. So because I put 3 videos out a week and it takes me time to record and upload and get a graphic done for it and stuff, it takes a bit of work. So if you do like the effort I put in here and you want to subscribe and like and all of the good stuff like that, I would so be appreciative of that. Somehow I ended up with like 5,500 new subscribers in the last 30 days. And that's a record for me. The tribe. What's your tribe? What's your tribe? I find that funny because the star point is in the house of tribes. I always call the 11th house your family of choice. It's your tribe. I belong to the groups that I care to belong to, the society of astronomers, the book club, the astrology communities, whatever. So that kind of 11th house tribe is being activated here. Let's see what that says. Okay. It's card number 8. Here we go. Alrighty. You are discovering the essential qualities that you share with another, and perhaps also those you do not share with another. There are times when you follow and the other person leads, and there are times when you lead and the other person follows. In the appearance of this card, points to the importance of learning the proper dance between you and another. Accepting the truth that everyone has flaws is a part of that dance. Yet you are being asked to be aware of the dynamics that you don't want to repeat. you're in a, oh yeah, don't repeat dynamics. They are wearying. You're in the perfect place to make changes in order to experience the best version of who you can be together. All right, I'll leave you with that. I'll leave you with that. Thank you for listening to the Love Scopes. Check out the one from last year. There's no outro today. I don't have anything to share, but I'd love to hear back from you over time. If you come back to this recording in the comments and let me know how the year was unfolding for you. I love going back and reading things as time progresses. You'll know more as the year unfolds, obviously. I'd love to hear your comments as time goes on. Time does go on. Bye, guys. Take care. Ciao, ciao.